Are you on already? evening, everyone, and welcome to FHNtoday. FHNtoday students, staff, and administration are pleased to have you as our guests for tonight's soccer matchup between the Cadets of CBC and the FHNtoday Knights. This athletic event is sanctioned by the FHNtoday, and members of that organization post school degrees to abide by the regulations governing athletic competition for high schools in the state of Missouri, as well as to maintain the standards of sportsmanship required at these athletic contests. Tonight's contest will be officiated under rules set forth by the National High School Federation, the governing body for the high school interscholastic athletics. Now let's introduce you to tonight's starting lineup. First from the CBC Cadets. Number 3, Kurt Miller. Number 4, Jeff Edwards. Number 5, Nolan DeWeese. Number 6, Colton Walsh. Number 7, Julian Bennett. Number 8, Jake Fenn. Number 10, Nick Spencer. Number 17, John Deering. Number 18, Cade Walsh. Number 26, Dave Fitzgerald. And number 24, Josh Sepienta. And now for your Howell North Knights. In goal, Troy Galloway. Number 5, Ethan Williams. Number 7, Yusuf Lange. Number 10, Richie Taylor. Number 12, Jake Greco. Number 14, Jesus Martinez. Number 15, Taylor Aldon. Number 17, Connor Murray. Number 18, Marcos Ramirez. Number 21, Victor Castellanos. Number 23, Taylor Morales. Head coach Larry Shallow, assistant athletics for CBC Knights, Mr. Terry Nicholas. Y'all stand with the rest of the people of the night and play in our channel.
Hello and welcome to tonight's Friday night soccer game between the Francis Howell North Knights and the CBC Cadets. My name is Dominic Kosher. I'm joined by Gavin Anderson here, bringing you tonight's action here on FHNtoday. Gavin, it's been a bit of a rough season so far for the Knights. They've only scored 3 goals in their last 6 games, but what else have they done wrong on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, Dominic, the Knights have struggled to find the back of the net in their last 6 games, as you said, only scoring 3 goals and 17 on the season. If FHN wants to improve on offense, they have to get Jake Gresso, Mateo Morales, and the team's other forwards more space up front and put more pressure on CBC's back line.
And about that back line for CBC, they've had a really strong season at 11-3-2. But one of their biggest struggles has been that back line that you just mentioned, Gavin, and they have given up a goal in their last 5 games. And while the Knights' offense has been struggling a little bit, they cannot continue to or afford to give up that many goals in tonight's matchup. Once again, this is Dominic Kosher and Gavin Anderson bringing you tonight's action here on FHNtoday. That ball is played out wide to Colton Walsh for the CBC Cadets, and that is played back to the center back for the visitors tonight as we get underway with 38 minutes to go here in the first half. And they play it out wide to the right, and it goes all the way across field back to the left back, number 6, Colton Walsh. So far, CBC keeps spreading the field to get their wingers a little bit more involved, and this ball comes in looking for their striker, who's also their captain, but that gets headed out. Here's Walsh now. Walsh against Victor Castellanos, and that ball comes in looking for his striker, but senior Richie Taylor is there to cut it out for the Knights. The ball comes back in looking for their striker once again, and he tries to cut it back for the left back Walsh, but it goes out for the first throw-in of the game in favor of the Knights. Castellanos to take the throw-in, and that is a turnover on Castellanos, and now possession for CBC. Marcos Ramirez gets the turnover for the Knights, and here is Taylor Elzine trying to wrestle the ball away from the forward for the Cadets, but that ball comes in, and that's a big save there by Corey Valeroy, his first of the game. But there's still pressure coming on the Knights defense, but that is headed away by Richie Taylor. The Cadets remain on the attack with number 17, John Gearling. Gearling looking for a Cadet, but no one was there, and that is Jesus Barcinas getting the turnover for the Knights, and Elzine regains possession right around the 10-yard line. Puts on a couple moves around the defender, and he wins a free kick for the Knights, their first of the game. And already, you see Elzine in a left-back role, Gavin. He hasn't played this role the majority of the year. He's mostly a forward or outside midfielder, but tonight, as the injuries have been piling on for the Knights, he has to play left back.
Yeah, Dominic, we have 4 players out for the Knights, which really is going to hurt us, as we have Adam Shine, Josh Tanner, Joel Arenas, and Thomas Bell. It's really going to hurt us on offense.
Yeah, Gavin, you have guys like Joel Arena going forward that the Knights have relied on heavily this season, as well as junior Adam Shine. Adam Shine leads the team in goals with 5 on the season. And without him and Joel, with Adam Shine playing that central midfield role and Joel Arena playing out wide on the right wings and the left wings, the Knights are going to get a little bit more creative in their formation and their attack going forward. They want to have any chance of beating the CBC Cadets in tonight's game. Colton Walsh gains possession here for the CBC Cadets around the 40-yard line. Plays it into the central midfielder, puts a move there on Connor Murray for the Knights, and Walsh regains possession and plays it back to the center back. We talked about getting a little bit more creative in the formations for the Knights tonight, and that includes Mateo Morales. This ball comes in looking for the striker. He's unable to get the ball there, waiting on the ref's decision. It looks like it'll be a corner in favor of the visitors, their first of the night here with 35 minutes remaining here in the first half. A bit of confusion out there, but the ref continues to point to the corner flag as it looked like Valeroy was setting up that goal kick, but in the end, it is a corner in favor of the Cadets, as the tall center back for CBC comes into the box. It looks like they're trying to get him on Marcos Ramirez as a marking in the box. The ball comes in, it's a little bit of a low drive, and senior Victor Castellanos tries to clear. That's headed away by another senior, Yusuf Lange, and a good move there by Mateo Morales, and they have a 3-on-1 here if they can hurry. Yusuf Lange and Jake Gressel going forward for the Knights. Morales plays it forward, looking for Gressel, and that comes right back to Morales. It's up in the air now, looking for the volley, gets past one defender, comes back, going to the back line. Looks like Jake Gressel will be able to race it down. That'll be a throw-in for the Knights. Best chance today on the counterattack there for FHN. Marcos Ramirez lays down the ball for the defender, Victor Castellanos, as he has his second throw-in of the game. Might be a long throw-in here, looking for someone in the middle of the box, and that's exactly that. Finds Connor Murray. Murray heads it in, looking for Jake Gressel, and that ends up in CBC's possession, but first true possession of the game so far for the Knights. Taylor plays it out wide to Marcos Ramirez, but that's a turnover on Marcos. That is number 5, Nolan DeWeese for CBC winning the ball there. And here comes the big number 8, Nate Tim for the Cadets, and it comes back to Colton Walsh. Walsh looking for someone in the middle, but no one gets open enough for him, and they have to switch the ball across out to the right winger. Yusuf Lange putting pressure on the CBC Cadets defender, and here comes the ball in, and it looks like it got past Valeroy, but the defense was able to take care of it and allowed Valeroy to get the clearance out, and the Knights avoid any further trouble there as the score remains 0-0 with 33 minutes remaining. Here's Colton Walsh with it again now for the Cadets. Ball comes in looking for the striker, but once again it's just over the head of number 10, Nick Dempster. Jesus Barcenas wins it for the Knights, and that's Connor Murray looking for his winger Yusuf Lange, but that was not able to get in his possession. It goes out for a throw-in favor of the Knights. Jake Edwards with it now for the Cadets. And here's once again Walsh getting the possession right around the 30-yard line, challenging Marcos Ramirez, but he plays it back to try to keep the possession going. Trying to establish a threat on the wing is CBC, and Mateo Morales tries to win it back for the Knights, but again, the CBC Cadets are looking really strong in their possession game so far. They've kept the Knights a little bit off balance, and they've been really using their outside wingers well and expanding their attack. As here comes their winger getting past 3 defenders. He sends the ball in, but that is taken care of by Connor Murray. Looks like that will be a goal kick in favor of the Knights, and that is their best chance of the night so far for CBC. That was Nolan DeWeese there for CBC. He got past Elzane, Lange, and the other defender for the Knights, and it's been their best chance today. And here comes Nick Dempster. Dempster plays it ahead. Looked like he might have been a little bit offside, but doesn't matter anyway, as that goes off of Ethan Williams for the Knights. It's a corner kick in favor of CBC. Nick Dempster has been one of the most creative players on the season. Gavin, can you go a little bit more into how successful he's been so far for CBC?
Yeah, he has 6 assists on the season, which is the most for CBC, the Cadets. And he has 4 goals, which is third best for their team. So offensively, he's a great player offensively and a big scorer for the Cadets.
Yes, Kevin, as that one hits the side of the netting there for a goal kick in favor of FHN. They've been trying to get Dempster the ball early on so far. He's the captain there for CBC. And so far they've been crossing it to him and playing it through him in the middle. But so far, not so much success so far for CBC rather, excuse me. But we'll see if they can try to get him the ball a little bit more. And as you mentioned, him being their most creative player, or one of their most creative players, they're probably going to aim on doing that. As the winger comes out here for FHN, and that is won by the defender for the Knights. And here's Jesus Barcinas playing out wide for Taylor Elzing. Here's Walsh once again going against Marcos Ramirez. Marcos Ramirez coming in for the injured Joel Arena. He's playing that right wing role for FHN. So far, no substitutions on either side, and in large part due to kind of a short bench for FHN. As you mentioned earlier, Gavin, they've had a boatload of injuries so far on the season, and they only have 3 players on the bench, including senior Mickey Asega, who plays up front at striker. We might be seeing him come in for Jake Gresso at a later point of this match. Marcos Ramirez sends it forward looking for a Knights winger, but that goes out of bounds, and it'll be a throw-in for CBC right here in the final third of the Knights' term of the field, and there are 27 minutes and 45 seconds remaining here in the first half. Slide tackle there by Victor Castellanos. It'll be another corner kick for CBC. The corner comes in, and it's a good one, but that gets over the head of Dempster, and it looks like it'll be gone almost out of bounds, and it will be out of bounds for a throw-in. No one got a touch on that other than the guy taking the corner. With 26 minutes left, the Knights have possession. Ball switch fields, as that is Colton Walsh getting possession here for the CBC Cadets. Big move there by the CBC winger, but that is cut out well done by Yusuf Lange. But once again, the Knights have been able to get a strong possession going And here are the Cadets once again coming down that left wing with Colton Walsh. Against Marcos Ramirez, he puts one move on and plays it in, but that is Mateo Morales winning it for the ninth, and he goes down, but no fouls called. Ramirez plays up to the striker, Jake Gresso, as they try to get a possession going, but once again, that's a strong effort by the Cadets to ruin the attack. The ball comes in, that's Nick Dempster trying to get ahead on it, but Victor Castellanos was able to get away as well as Marcos Ramirez, but it comes out to Walsh. Mateo Morales putting pressure on the Cadets midfielder, but that goes all the way back to the defender for CBC as number 4 Jake Edwards gets possession for CBC. Here's Colton Walsh. It looks like Mickey Asega is warming up for the Knights. We mentioned earlier how he might come in later in this game for Jake Gresso at striker. He provides a bit of pace up front. He's one of the fastest players on the team. That's what Coach Larry Schiller is going for here with the substitution, as we have 24 minutes and 25 seconds now remaining here in the first half. Ball cleared out by Jesus Barcinas. And Gavin, it seemed like a little bit one-sided game so far. What has CBC done well to challenge this Knights team?
Well, Dominic, they've had great possession throughout the first half so far, as we do have 23 minutes left, and they've really put pressure on Richie Taylor, Victor Castellanos, and Corey Valley, the goalkeeper, as they continue to put pressure on them, which is definitely running down the defense.
Yeah, Gavin, something we saw earlier in the season was guys like Corey Valeroy, Richie Taylor, and the now injured Thomas Bell. They didn't get that much pressure on them in the early stages of the games, and that was in large part due to that veteran presence in the back line. But now, with a couple juniors in there like Marcos Ramirez and Ethan Williams, there's a bit of experience loss for that back line, and it can sometimes lead to some mental mistakes, and a little bit more opportunities for the opposing team. Mickey Asega is on now for the Knights. Nick Dempster plays it to the midfielder. That is number 18, Cade Walsh. Walsh puts a move on the defender, and he's going against Connor Murray here, and he gets to the center of the field, and he plays it out wide to number 17, John Gearling. Gearling goes down, but plays out wide anyway. Ref says play on. Ball comes in, dealt with by senior Richie Taylor. And here's Mateo Morales looking for options, but CBC is all over this nice possession here, and that's a little bit of a clumsy clearance there by Marcos Ramirez, but anyways, it works out for the Knights. And here's Mateo Morales. He puts a move on the defender, but he goes down. The ref says go on and get up. Colton Walsh here plays it to Jake Edwards. Here's Nick Dempster with a triangle of Knights defenders around him, but they get it out wide anyway to the frustration of Larry Scheller. Here's Edwards with it now. He faked the long shot, and he plays it out wide to the midfielder. That's Nick Dempster, and he plays it all the way out wide to Colton Walsh, who's had a busy night so far on that left wing. He plays it all the way across, finds the right winger for CBC. He plays it back for Dempster. Dempster takes it one time, playing it in, looking for a striker, but that goes out for a possession for FHN, and Mateo Morales just clears it up, but Jake Russell was not able to get on the end of it, and it's another possession for CBC. Edwards plays it in for Dempster. Dempster tried to get someone on the back pass, but no one was there, and it looks like Colton Walsh was the intended recipient there, but what a move there by Marcos Ramirez, and he put in pressure on the Colton Walsh right there. Here comes Ramirez, and now Mateo Morales chasing after the ball, but that is a nutmeg by Mateo Morales, and it's a one-on-one with the keeper here, but if he can do it right, here's Morales. He takes his shot looking for between the legs of the goalkeeper, but it comes back out. Here's Connor Murray. Murray looking for Jesus Barcinas, and the best chance of the day so far for the Knights goes to waste. Here's Edwards taking it out left, but no one was there, and he plays it back to number 18. That is Cade Walsh, the brother of Colton Walsh. Taylor Elsing battling with number 7 for CBC, Julian Bennett. Bennett gets it here looking at Jake Edwards, but he fakes to him and takes on Jesus Barcinas. And here comes Nick Dempster looking for a highlight reel goal, but that is blocked by number 21, Victor Castellanos. But once again, here's Colton Walsh on the wing. He plays it across, and that is watched easily there by Corey Valeroy. But here's Edwards right around the 20-yard line with possession, looking for options. And he plays it all the way out wide, makes Colton Walsh run for it. And here comes Mateo Morales putting pressure on Walsh. Gressel almost got a touch on that. That would have been a big counterattack opportunity for the Knights, but it gets past them, and here comes the right back for CBC with possession. And he places number 17, John Geerling. Geerling going against Jesus Barcinas and Mickey Asega. Asega chases Bennett. Ball comes in. Edwards, the intended recipient, but that is cleared away by Ethan Williams. But the CBC once again gains possession right after a clearance, and they are able to recollect on offense as we have just under 18 minutes and 30 seconds remaining here in the first half as the score remains 0-0. Here's Edwards. Edwards plays it over to number 17, Geerling. That ball comes in, but that is a save there by Corey Valeroy. He's already had a couple of this game so far. He's looked really comfortable in the back for FHN. And right now he has a shutout. And he boots that all the way to the 30-yard line. Here is Mateo Morales. Jake Gressel tried to get on the end of it, but once again, the Knights, they don't have enough numbers up front to really win those kind of 50-50 balls. And even if they do, they turn around and, hey, look, there's 3 CBC defenders there. They got to start sending some men forward. They want to put more pressure on this CBC back line. Colton Walsh and Victor Castellanos go at it, but that is a throw-in in favor of the Knights. As that ball goes out for a throw-in for the CBC. So far, while the Knights have had a couple good opportunities, they haven't had a long sustained possession. So, Gavin, what should or what could the Knights do to improve on offense?
Dominic, they could really press the CBC's offense, as their defense seems to, be struggling a little bit, and really gain more offensive possession, as it seems like CBC's had more offensive possession than the Knights have. That is a great save by goalkeeper Corey Valeroy.
Yeah, Gavin, another great save, or big save as Corey likes to call it, and he's had a whole bunch of them already this game, and that was the deadly Nick Dempster getting the ball. Taylor sends it up and finds a guy in a purple uniform. That is number 17, John Geerling. Possession here for CBC, but excuse me, no longer a possession for CBC. That ball goes out for a throw-in for the Knights, and coming back on for the Knights is number 7, Yusuf Lengi, who's replacing Marcos Ramirez out on the right wing to try to add a little bit more pace and stability to that right wing attack. The throw-in will be taken by senior Taylor Elzing. Dempster and Barcinas going at it, but here's Yusuf Langi. Yusuf Langi plays it in for Barcinas, but unable to find him, and here is Edwards. Edwards puts a move on one defender, and here he comes. Down the 40-yard line, plays it up the field looking for his striker. That is number 8, Nate Tim. Hasn't really had his name out there so far this game. He's been a little bit quiet, but he's been one of the most productive players on the season for CBC, as Tim has 6 goals, which is second most for CBC on the year. Richie Taylor watches that one go out for a goal kick in favor of FHN. Corey Valroy to take this goal kick with just under 14 minutes now remaining in the first half, as both offenses have been unable to find the back of the net, as the score remains 0-0. Here's Castellanos. Castellanos looking for Yusuf Lengi, and they have been playing soccer together ever since freshman year, and they've formed a really good bond between the two, and they're both on the right wing, and we can see if that bond tries to help that Knights offense. Hasn't been able to get going, but here's Monteo Morales getting by the defender in a really creative fashion. He plays it forward for Jake Gresso. Gresso looking for one of his first touches of the game. Gresso, he tries to get past that CBC defender, but he forces a throw-in favor of FHN. 13 minutes now remaining as Castellanos gets ready to take the throw-in for the Knights. Elzing and Richie Taylor with a bit of miscommunication. That leads to an attack here for Bennett and the CBC Cadets. And that ball comes in, and it's a goal. What a finish there by CBC to find that back corner. And it's a great goal. Bit of miscommunication there by Taylor Elzing and Richie Taylor. Kind of a rare miscommunication between the two, as they are both seniors, but it leads to a goal nonetheless for CBC.
My son goes to North, but we're here watching the CBC goals, so. Yeah. So, you have to both ways. It's all good.
That was Nate Tim who got the goal for the CBC Cadets. He found that bottom corner in a place where not even Corey Valor could make his big save there, and it's 1-0 in favor of CBC. That is Tim's 7th goal of the season now. He is now the joint top goal scorer on the team with number 9 junior Reese McKell. With just 12 minutes remaining now here in the first half, the score is 1 in favor of CBC, 0 Francis Howell North. Reese McKell tried to get possession going for CBC, but nothing really came of that. Now Ethan Williams turns the ball over in favor of CBC once again. Ball switches fields, and that is taken right around the 30-yard line, and now Captain Nick Dempster gets the ball for CBC. Ball comes in, and here is number 5, Nolan DeWeese. DeWeese trying to get possession over here is Richie Taylor. Richie Taylor coming around the 20-yard line, and he's brought down. No call, but now there's a call, but it's a play-on attempt here for the Knights. Here's Yusuf Lengi chasing it down, but that is gained by number 6, Colton Walsh. The other Walsh brother switches fields, and here comes CBC. Ball played by Reese McKell over to Colton Walsh. Jake Gressel wins it back for the Knights, and here's Jesus Barcinas, now Jake Gressel. Gressel plays it to Barcinas, and here comes, well, it looked like Gressel and Mateo Morales, but neither of them really chase after the ball. And now it's CBC's possession, but Mickey Esega wins it for the Knights. Here's Jesus Barcinas. Barcinas plays it back to Elsie. Elsie sends it straight up, and Esega tried to win it for the Knights, but instead he wins a throw-in, and we have just under 10 minutes now remaining here in the first half. Here's Edwards. Edwards has Colton Walsh all by himself here by the 40-yard line. Here's Walsh. Here's a couple options here looking for, well, back to Edwards. Edwards plays it to Nick Dempster. Dempster takes on a couple defenders and plays it to number 18. That is Cade Walsh. Edwards scoots around the defender now. Another midfielder here. That's Nick Dempster, and that comes right off of Jesus Barcinas. He gets right back up though and takes it like a man. Morales wins it for the Knights. Here comes Connor Murray, sends up for Jake Gressel. Here's Morales, he has a couple options out wide, and here's Mickey Esega now with the ball. And, well, he was trying to settle it, and now he gets it, keeps it in bounds, and it's a nice possession here with Jesus Barcinas around the 10-yard line. Barcinas wins a throw-in for the Knights, and now just 7 minutes and 15 seconds remaining here in the first half. Here's Yusuf Lengi, and almost got on the end of it, but the goalkeeper there was able to clear it for CBC. Throw in for the Knights as Victor Castellanos finds Yusuf Lengi. that goes past Castellanos, and here's Ethan Williams. Ethan Williams finds Castellanos, and he plays it back for senior Richie Taylor. Richie Taylor sends it all the way upfield looking for Mickey Sega, but that turns into a CBC possession. Bennett chasing after the ball, but Elzine lets it roll out for a Knights throw-in. 6 minutes now remaining with the Knights trailing by 1. As Reese McKell and Victor Castellanos will go after that, and he goes out for a CBC throw-in. Gavin, the Knights have had a couple strong attacks, as we mentioned earlier, but none that have really challenged the goalkeeper Fitzgerald for CBC. What have the Knights need to improve on in terms of offense?
Well, Dom, really they just need to do better at communicating. It seems like they've let up their defense with some communication issues, and that's, I believe, how they score their goal. And they haven't had too much time on offense as the ball has gone out.
Yeah, Gavin, that lack of communication kind of messes up the organization of the team, and without organization, you're not going to get strong possessions going, not long possessions going, and it's going to be a rough night for the Knights offense if they can't communicate a little bit better and look a little bit more organized. Colton Walsh gains possession around the 30-yard line as we have 4 minutes and 35 seconds now remaining here in the first half. Walsh going against Yusuf Lengi, now Victor Castellanos. Castellanos tried the slide tackle, but it goes almost out for a goal kick in favor of FHN, but instead it's going to be a throw-in as the ball is cleared by Ethan Williams. Nolan DeWeese plays it out wide to his right back. That's Bennett looking for the give and go, but that doesn't work out. But here comes CBC anyway. Tries to cut it in, but that is Ethan Williams cutting it out for the Knights. And here's Taylor Elzing trying to get past the last defender. Unable to do so, and now Jesus Barcinas is able to clear it out for a CBC throw-in. The Knights did well in clearing that attack from CBC. It looked like it could have been a bit of a problem as it came down to Ethan Williams and senior Richie Taylor to make the stop, and they did just that. 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. The Knights still looking for their first goal to draw even with the visiting CBC Cadets. Ball's out wide for Colton Walsh. Walsh looking to play it in, and that gets past Victor Castellanos, and Corey Valeroy is able to stop it from going into the back of the net or into the waiting feet of the CBC Cadets. Corey Valeroy drops an NFL-like punt there for FHN, but no one was able to get on the end of it. Now it's a throw-in favor of the Knights with 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. Senior right back Victor Castellanos to take, looking for options. He has a couple with Connor Murray, Yusuf Lengi, and Yusuf Lengi is the one who gets in, looking for Jake Gresso on the return ball, but that does not work out. Throw-in for CBC. Colton Walsh to take the throw-in for the visiting team. Reese McKell battling with Yusuf Lengi, but the CBC Cadets are able to get possession. Here's Colton Walsh. Walsh plays it out wide for Reese McKell. McKell takes a touch, takes another, plays it in, looking for Nick Dempster or another forward for CBC. That does not work out for McKell, but here's Colton Walsh again. Looking for McKell, but has a foul call against Mateo Morales and the Knights, and it'll be a free kick and in dangerous territory right around the 10-yard line. The best opportunity so far for CBC in terms of free kick positioning. We have just 1 minute and 20 seconds now remaining in the first half. as this could be one of the last true opportunities of the night, or the first half, for FHN. That is number 4, Edwards, to take the free kick. CBC doesn't look in too big of a hurry to try and close out this half. It's been a really strong one. They've had good possession numbers, and they've put pressure on Corey Valeroy. He's made a lot of solid saves so far for FHN to keep them in this game, but they have to start getting this attack going if they want to take the pressure off of the junior goalkeeper. Reese McKell sends it in looking for a waiting forward for CBC, but that does not find anyone other than the Knights defender. Cleared away, and a possession coming up for CBC until that ball goes out for a throw-in. Yusuf Lengi tosses it over to Victor Castellanos, and he'll take it with 20 seconds now remaining. The Knights want to get something here. They got to hurry. Lengi with it now. Lengi trying to battle with Reese McKell. McKell forces a pass back, and here's Jack Edwards playing it across, looking for Bennett, but that is Valeroy trying to get on the end of it, but a bit miscommunication there between him and Elsie, and that ball is cleared away, but it doesn't matter. Either way, it's the end of the first half. What a way to end that half. A bit of miscommunication there between junior Corey Valeroy and senior Taylor Elzine, and it could have been resulting in a horrible situation there for the Knights, but they were able to get it cleared away, and as time stopped, they avoided any further harm. Going into halftime, the Knights trail by 1-0 against the CBC Cadets. Welcome back to tonight's Friday night soccer game between the Francis Howell North Knights and the CBC Cadets. The Knights trail by 1 here at the start of the second half. And once again, my name is Dominic Oster, joined by Gavin Anderson, bringing you tonight's action here on FHN Today. Gavin, it's been a bit of a rough game so far for the Knights, but what did you notice in that first half for the home team?
Well, Dominic, FHN has heavily relied on a counterattack, large part due to all their injuries. And Jake Gresso needs to be more efficient up front in order for the counterattack to work on the new goalkeeper, Piero Martinez.
You're right, Gavin. Gresso had a little bit of a rough first half. Every time he got the ball, there was pressure on him immediately, and that's kind of how it rolls with a counterattack kind of play in a soccer offense. But they have to try to improve either A, with Gresso up front, or definitely with Gresso up front, excuse me, and then as well as on the wings with Yusuf Langi and company for the Knights. Elzing sends it forward looking for Mateo Morales, but Morales was a little bit more in than out. So it's a possession for CBC with 38 minutes remaining here in the second half. Gresso chasing for the Knights, but the CBC defender is able to gain possession. Played over at number 5, Nolan DeWeese for CBC. Here's Dempster. Dempster plays it out wide to the winger for CBC and sends the ball in, takes a deflection, a little bit of a deflection off of Marcos Ramirez, but they are able to gain possession again for CBC. Ball is played across in favor of Edwards, and he takes on Mateo Morales. Morales watches it go out wide for CBC, and that ball goes through the field goal, and that is, well, in football it'd be 3 points, but for soccer it's nothing but a goal kick in favor of FHN. Here's Morales. Morales plays it to Yusuf Langi. Yusuf Langi, that was actually Jesus Bersinas, not Yusuf Langi, excuse me, but now it's Langi chasing after the ball, but it's possession for Bennett and the CBC Cadets. Here's Bennett. Bennett has a couple options. He plays it to Edwards, and Edwards looks across the field, trying to switch field, and he will do just that. Plays it in between his two left wingers, and his left back was able to get on the ball, and here comes the CBC Cadets. Ball played through, and here comes a cross. The cross comes in, and that is deflected off of Richie Taylor. He stands his ground. It's a big block there, and here he comes. He plays it up front looking for Mateo Morales. Morales chips it over to Richie Taylor, and all the way back from the center back position. He leads the counterattack. Richie Taylor plays it out wide for Mateo Morales. Morales tries to chase it down, but in the end, it just ends up in the possession of number 6, Colton Walsh. The counter for CBC comes now with number 5, Nolan DeWeese. DeWeese sends it in looking for Bennett, but that goes now out of bounds in favor of FHN, and it'll be a throw-in for the visiting team. 36 minutes remaining. The Knights still trailing by 1. Here's Dempster. Dempster plays it out wide for the left winger. The Cadets gain a little bit of possession here as Colton Walsh gains possession for CBC. That is number 18 now with the ball, Cade Walsh. Dempster plays it out wide back for Colton. Colton nutmegs the defender Marcos Ramirez there, and he gets past a couple more, and here comes Edward, and that ball, not Edward, but rather Colton Walsh, and that goes out for a corner kick in favor of CBC. Bennett's corner comes in, and that goes out wide, and it'll be out of bounds for another, looks like a corner kick in favor of CBC. Now on the opposite side of the field, looks like Bennett will be remaining in the middle of the field and not taking this corner. Ball played short for Bennett. Bennett gets it again here, going against Jesus Barcinas, and that ball comes in and it's cleared away by the Knights, but not too far, as that is sent through the field goal again by CBC. Marcos Ramirez comes off for the Knights, and Mickey Asego will be going into that right wing role for the Knights. 33 minutes and 35 seconds remaining here as Corey Valeroy prepares to boot this one long for the Knights. Richie Taylor heads it away, and here's Yusuf Lengi. Lengi gains possession and gives it to Jesus Barcinas. Barcinas plays it to Richie Taylor, who's played more in Jake Gressler, excuse me. Now Nick Dempster gaining possession for CBC. Dempster chasing after it, but that is knocked away there by Corey Valeroy. Nice composure there by the junior goalkeeper, and that's a corner kick in favor of CBC. Bennett takes it quick and plays it out wide to the winger. Ball sent in, looking for, looks like Edwards. Edwards tries to get a head on it, but that's cleared away by Richie Taylor, and now Mateo Morales. Edward plays it there for Kurt Miller. Miller plays it to number 18, that is Cade Walsh. On the other side of the field is his brother Colton Walsh, and here comes Nick Dempster. Dempster puts move on Connor Murray and looking for options, and he just lets one fly, and that's a big save there by Corey Valeroy, but here comes Bennett. And that one's cleared away in the end by Yusuf Lengi, and that is a big clearance there for the Knights, as one of the best chances that they have so far for CBC, if not their best. And put Valeroy on notice there. That was Nick Dempster, one of the top goal scorers on the season for CBC, getting in on the action and putting pressure on Corey Valeroy. 31 minutes and 40 seconds now remaining here in the second half as the CBC Cadets take the corner, and that gets cleared away by Gasu Corey Valeroy. Connor Murray sends it forward, looking for two options in Jake Gresso and Mateo Morales, but neither of them are available. Yusuf Lengi plays it for Richie Taylor and takes a deflection off of Lengi, but back into possession of the Cadets and Cade Walsh. Here's Bennett. Bennett with Yusuf Lengi on, and he forces the turnover. Here's Connor Murray. And that is Corey Valeroy winning possession there for the Knights, as we have 31 minutes now remaining. Bennett tries to get on the end of it for CBC, and he does. Going against Yusuf Lengi. He's all by himself for CBC, but he plays it back now to Edwards. Edwards plays it over to Nick Dempster, and Dempster returns the favor back to Edwards, and Edwards tries to have a long shot there right outside the 20-yard line, but that goes out off a deflection from a Knights defender, and it's a corner kick with 30 minutes now remaining, as CBC still remains up by 1. The corner comes in. It's a goal line save there by the Knights defender. Pressure still remains on by CBC. And that one comes all the way out to the CBC winger, and that is, looks like a foul or something that will lead to an offside against the CBC Cadets, as one of their attackers got past that last defender for the Knights when he gained possession, and it's a free kick right around the H in the end zone as Richie Taylor sends it up the field looking for Mateo Morales. Barcinas plays it low past the defender, and here's Mateo Morales, who switches around again to get past Edwards. He's waiting for a couple options to open up, and looks like Yusuf Lengi is trying to make that run. Tries to take it across the middle now, and he plays out wide for Mickey Asega. Asega heads it out wide, and that is Connor Murray running on now for FHN. One of their best counterattacks of the night so far for the hosts. That one takes a deflection, and it'll go out for a throw-in favor of FHN. Taylor Elsing to take, and he throws it into Jake Gresso, but that one is a little bit short, and it's won by the Cadets as Nick Dempster takes the counter for CBC this time around. Here's Bennett chasing after, but now the CBC winger waiting for a couple options to open up, and he looks like he has Nick Dempster, and Dempster's one-on-one with Valeroy, but Valeroy gets off his line in a hurry, and he's able to cut that attack off for the Knights. Lengi tries to keep it in, but it goes just a little bit out of bounds, and looks like Jack Edwards gets the ball now, but Mateo Morales as well muscle him off, and here comes a counter for the Knights, as that is number 14, Jesus Barcinas, leading the counter, and Connor Murray now taking it across the logo for FHN and looking for options out wide, and he has senior Mickey Asega. Asega takes a touch, plays it back to Connor Murray. Murray takes it back as Jesus Barcinas, but plays it all the way back to Taylor Elzine instead. Elzine plays it to Asega, and Asega lets it roll over to Elzine, and that ball comes in looking for Yusuf Lengi, but that's cut off by the new goalkeeper, number 27, Piero Martinez for CBC. Ball played in looking for a forward for CBC, but no one was there other than Corey Valeroy, Richie Taylor, and Ethan Williams. Valeroy to punt it away, and he punts it upfield looking for what looks like his right winger, but Mickey Asega was not there, and Gressel also let it come down to a CBC defender, but here's Asega. Asega plays it to Morales, and Morales gets possession right around the 45-yard line for FHN. Morales plays it through, and Gressel's able to chest it down to Jesus Barcinas. Barcinas took a little bit of a heavy first touch there, and it goes in favor of CBC, but now the Knights are able to get attack going here, and here is Mateo Morales. Morales, 2 nutmegs in a row to get the student section for FHN on their feet. They are ecstatic about that, but it leads to a throw-in anyways for CBC. It looks good, but didn't really lead to much for FHN. Kurt Miller sends it forward. Here's Nick Dempster one-on-one with, looks like Corey Valeroy, and that is off the field goal post, and it'll be a goal kick for the Knights as one fan yelled, no good, as that one went off the left post. 25 minutes remaining here in the second half. Barcinas wins it for the Knights. Here's Mateo Morales. Morales looking for a couple options. No one's really getting open for him, but he cuts it the other side. Looks like Lengi's there, but Gressel's also making a run. He gets past 2 defenders. Morales comes in and plays it to Yusuf Lengi. They have a 3-on-2 if they capitalize here. And Lengi was trying to play it in for Morales, who's making a run to make it a one-on-one opportunity with the goalkeeper, but that is cut away. And here's Yusuf Lengi trying to throw it long for Jake Gressel, but Gressel unable to get on the end of it for the Knights. Here is Bennett leading the counter for CBC. Bennett tries to get across the field, but that is cut away by Connor Murray and out for a CBC throw-in with 24 minutes remaining here in the second half. Corner kick here for CBC. They've had a lot of those, but none of them have really been that successful for the Cadets so far. We'll see if this one changes as Bennett gets ready to take, looking for some of his big bodies in the middle of the field, but none of them are there. That's cleared away by Connor Murray, but back to another CBC Cadet. That ball comes in, but Corey Valeroy's there to make the save and try to get a counter going here. He can get it out quickly for the Knights as they have 23 minutes remaining, trying to find that first goal of the game for the hosts. Morales and Jake Russell putting pressure on the CBC defender, but he's able to get out wide to Walsh. Walsh plays it forward looking for number 17, Gearling. Gearling puts a move on Taylor Elzing, but that doesn't get past Ethan Williams. Here comes Nick Dempster. Takes a little bit of a kick, and he's a little bit shaken up there for CBC, but CBC has the ball anyway. That's Gearling. Gearling plays it in. That is a goal for CBC. Gearling and company on the left side exposes that right wing back for the Knights, and they were able to get through the middle and wide open. Looks like that was number 5, Nolan DeWeese, who was left all alone in the middle of the box. A little bit of miscommunication there in the back for FHN that led to the second goal of the game in favor of the Cadets.
Yes, as Deweese did score that second goal of the game for CBC, and that was his first goal on the year, so if they give him the ball more, I believe that he could definitely be a big factor for CBC.
Throw-in for the Knights with 21 minutes and 45 seconds remaining. It's been a really rough night so far for their offense, but they're trying to change it up here with a couple moves. One, Marcos Ramirez coming in for senior Yusuf Lange, and a change up top at striker, trying to get a different attack or a different approach of an attack up front. As Jake Russell's had a really bit of a slow night for FHN, but we'll see if the change can try to jumpstart that Knight's attack. Marcos Ramirez lets it roll right by him. Here is Bennett. Bennett takes a couple juggles and plays it to number 3. That is Kurt Miller for CBC. Now Connor Murray looking to play forward, but Edwards is able to get a deflection there, and that's Taylor Elzing finding Mickey Asega. Asega looking for Murray, but that is once again Edwards. He's had a really big role played so far for CBC in that middle of the field, center midfield role, and he's had a strong night for CBC as that ball comes in looking for the goal scorer, number 5, Nolan DeWeese, but it goes all the way out to Walls. Ball sent in, but only Richie Taylor is there to clear. Mateo Morales battling with Edwards, trying to get possession for FHN, and he's able to do just that. And now coming on the counterattack is Jesus Barcinas. That change at striker includes Peter Moxley for FHN. Ball play forward looking for, looks like Nolan DeWeese, but that goes out for a goal kick in favor of FHN. Under 20 minutes now, the Knights trail by 2. As the CBC Cadets make a pair of changes here in the late stages of tonight's match. You can kind of see the tired legs there for the Knights as Montiel Morales tries to chase it down, but as the game gets later and later, you see fatigue start to affect players a little bit more, and it affected the Knights there as Morales wasn't able to really put any pressure on the CBC defense. Piero Martinez able to clear for CBC, and possession starts for the Cadets. Ball play through for Bennett. Bennett has all the room in the world there with a couple of defenders chasing him, but he plays the ball in. He finds his defender, or attacker rather, and that goes way over the goal, and it is a goal kick for Francis Howell North.
And that was Nolan DeWeese who sent that ball way over the goal post, as CBC now has regained possession once again.
And as we talk about him, Gavin, he comes right off for the night, or for the CBC Cadets rather, and it's a substitution for CBC with 18 minutes now remaining. They have yet another corner to be taken here in the second half of tonight's Friday night soccer game between the CBC Cadets and the Francis Howell North Knights, as the Knights trail by 2. Once again, this is Dominic Oster, joined by Gavin Anderson, bringing you tonight's action here on FHN Today. If you want to catch our next soccer stream, come out next Thursday, October 5th against Fort Zumwalt South at 6 o'clock. If you want to find that game, just come back to FHNtoday.com/live or FHNgameday.com. That shot goes over once again for CBC, and it's a goal kick in favor of the Knights.
As Corey Valroy is getting ready to punt this ball deep. Really, Francis Howell North this quarter has put more pressure on offense, as that is sent down the field to now number 5 for the Cadets. That would be Nolan DeWeese.
A little bit of tension rising around the 40-yard line, but here come the CBC Cadets. A bit of miscommunication there between Ethan Williams and Taylor Elsing, but Richie Taylor is able there to recollect for the Knights and try to slow it down a little bit and get a possession going for FHN. Here's Taylor now. He slides down, continues to have the ball, and he runs up the middle of the field looking for the forward there for the Knights, but he was unable to get the possession, and now looks like Richie Taylor's all the way up in that central midfield role, even though he needs to get all the way back to center back for the Knights. And that is number 2 for CBC, Brendan McAllister, who hasn't gotten too much playing time so far for CBC, but as they've had this league going for the past couple of minutes, they're starting to get a little bit new faces out there and try to create a different element to tonight's game for CBC, as they are up by 2-0 with 15 minutes and 35 seconds remaining here in the second half.
That is now in possession of the Knights as number 20. Now it is CBC's ball. And what I have noticed through this game, Dominic, is really the Knights have put on more defensive pressure and have attacked more on offense throughout the second half, as we have reached 15 minutes left of this game.
Yes, Gavin, the Knights putting a little bit more pressure on. Kind of reflects how we're getting to the later stages of these games. The Knights are going to be a little bit more desperate now on offense and defense as well. Trying to get a possession going quickly and not let the Cadets, try to get a long possession going. But once again, here's a corner in favor of CBC. Ball comes in, but it's cleared away by Jesus Barcinas, and guess what? Another corner in favor of CBC. Ball comes in, takes a deflection off Mickey Asegas, and a little bit of miscommunication there, but here is McKell. Here's McKell, a joint top goal scorer now for CBC. Loses the ball, and here's Taylor Elsing playing up forward for Mateo Morales. Morales tries to put a move on the defender, but that goes nowhere, and here comes CBC. On the 40-yard line, that is left winger for CBC gains possession. Here comes to the middle of the field, the central midfielder. Nolan DeWeese now with the ball as he came back on after that substitution a little bit earlier in the half, and that is Edward playing out wide for the left winger. Looks like that's number 13, Seth Cates, the defender for CBC that came on earlier. One of those new faces we mentioned earlier, Gavin, that hasn't seen the field too much tonight, but as we get to later stages of these games and the legs get a little bit more tired, we start to see some of these new faces come onto the field more often. And speaking of those new faces, that's number 2, Brendan McAllister, getting ready to take this throw-in for the CBC Cadets.
Yeah, Dominic, as you did mention, CBC has brought in a lot of new faces, which is going to be tough for our Knights. Just because of all of our injuries that we've had, we cannot bring in as many new faces into this game, which is going to wear out our defense. So really, CBC right now is just trying to wear out our defense and have more scoring opportunities.
You nailed it on the head, Gavin, there. With the fresh legs of the CBC Cadets coming out on the field, it puts so much more pressure on the Knights and their a little bit tired legs, and they're a little bit faster, a little bit stronger. And as the game goes on, they're able to make these substitutions, get these new faces on, and put more pressure on the Knights. As Piero Martinez, who clears the way for CBC to have an attack led by now Edwards, who plays it a really nice ball into the middle of the box, but is dealt with nicely there by Mickey Asega, and he wins a goal kick for Corey Valeroy and the Knights. 11 minutes and 54 seconds now remaining here in the second half as the Knights trail 2-0. Number 17, John Gearling, comes out for CBC, and yet another new face comes on for the Cadets, and that is Sam Costa, but his first action of the game, a foul. Free kick to be taken by Mateo Morales, but that is lost quickly there, looking for Jesus Barcinas, but in the end it ends in possession of CBC. Nolan Louise makes a couple moves, and now the goalkeeper Martinez plays it forward, looking for one of his number 12 forwards, Tyler Herberhoy. Ethan Williams sends it up, and Jesus Barcinas tries to get a head on it, but is unable to do so. But Richie Taylor sends it straight back up in the air, and Marcos Ramirez gets in a little bit of a situation there with number 2 McAllister. It looks like they're both able to get back up and keep going, but Marcos Ramirez was a little bit shaken up there, but not shaken up enough to not be able to win that ball for FHN. Looking forward for Mateo Morales, but ends right back in the possession of CBC. Ramirez tries to keep it in for the Knights, but that goes out of bounds. And with just under 10 minutes now remaining, they're making another sub as the Marcos Ramirez comes off the field for Yusuf Lange. Sam Costa plays across for CBC. Jesus Martinez wins it for the Knights, but once again, as soon as he gets the ball, the first thing he does is clear it, and not a Knights winger, forward, defender, or anyone else is able to get that. And every time they get the ball, it feels like they try to do this. And while it's good to clear every once in a while to try to lessen the pressure on that back line, you got to start looking for other defenders and other players in the white uniform. But they were unable to do so, and with 8 minutes and 40 seconds remaining, time is running out for this Knights team to get on the scoreboard as they trail 2-0 here against the CBC Cadets. Costa makes a move, but that goes nowhere, and here's Mateo Morales on the counter. He's surrounded by Cadets, and he's able to cut it back and play it out wide for senior Yusuf Lange. Jesus Barcina tries making a run for FHN, but that goes nowhere, and here comes the Knights, but that pass was an errant one, and that goes straight to CBC. And with under 8 minutes now remaining, CBC has possession in the back of the field, as that was DeWeese putting out wide, and now that is Walsh with possession for CBC. Excuse me, that is not Walsh. He came out earlier in the half, and Tyler Herboyd is back in for CBC. Ball comes in, but that is a save made by Corey Valeroy. It looked like that was Jacob Muth on the head there for CBC, but Valeroy is able to keep his composure and make an easy save there. And the Knights try to get something going with Mateo Morales, but he wasn't able to get the ball. And here is number 2, Brendan McAllister. Costa plays it out wide to the center back, and now he plays it out wide to Herbert Holt. Lange battling there with number 22, Hunter DeGrand, but that goes out for yet another corner kick in favor of CBC. 6 minutes, 20 seconds now remaining in the second half.
That is a big save by Corey Valeroy, and as they are battling over there, another big save by Corey Valeroy. And that ball is kicked wide of the goal, and that is going to be a goal kick for Corey Valeroy as the Knights are going to gain possession once again.
Morales wins it for the Knights, and here comes Yusuf Lange on the left wing. Racing forward is Yusuf, but he's trying to go one-on-one with McAllister. He wins it there. Plays it back for Jesus Barcina, sends it back a little bit, and it looks like that'll be a possession for CBC. A missed time pass there by the senior leads. Yet another turnover. But here's Lange again, recollected right around the 40-yard line. Jesus Barcina is looking for options, and he plays it forward. It looks like he was trying to get Yusuf Lange on the run, but just didn't work out. Once again, those tie legs that you mentioned earlier, Gavin, negatively affecting the Knights. Well, under 5 minutes now remaining here in the second half as Sam Costa plays it out wide to Herbert Holt for the CBC Cadets. McAllister going one-on-one with Yusuf Langi, but he plays it all the way back to number 21. That is Nate Burke for CBC as Costa plays out wide now to Herbert Holt. Burke plays it to Sam Costa, to the new fresh subs in for CBC, now to the third sub for CBC, that is McAllister. Not to be confused with the restaurant. Ball comes in, here's, well, it looks like McAllister and number 22 McGlynn or DeGrant, were deciding who wants to go for it. In the end, it ended up out of bounds. Goal kick here for Corey Valeroy with just 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. Looks like it's all but over for the Knights. Morales chests it down and showcases a little bit of skill to try to get some interest in by the student section. Here's Jesus Varsinas. Varsinas gets past a couple of defenders with a nutmeg. Here's Varsinas again, puts on a couple moves and plays it forward looking for some sort of striker, but that some sort of striker was not there. It's a goal kick, and this goal kick will not be taken in any hurry by Martinez and the CBC Cadets, as there's just 2 minutes now remaining, and the CBC Cadets look well on their way to their 12th win on the season here at Francistown North. Herbert Holt plays it to Bennett. Ball comes in looking for DeGrant, but it falls to McAllister. McAllister going one-on-one with Yusuf Langi. He plays it in, that is headed away by Richie Taylor. 50 seconds now remaining here in the game. Costa sends the ball in, looking for a couple heads, but none of them are able to get anything on it, and it's a goal kick for Corey Valeroy and the Knights with 20 seconds remaining now, and the Knights still trail by 2. .50-50 ball goes in favor of CBC, and here comes the Cadets. McAllister wins it around the 40-yard line, and that will be that, and that is the final score, 2-0 in favor of the CBC Cadets. as they improved to a record of 12-3-2. They extend their unbeaten streak to an impressive record of 9, and the Francis Howell North Knights fall to a record of 6-8-1 on the season. Gavin, it was a bit of a rough night for the Francis Howell North Knights, but one of their biggest issues was just not having enough players, and mainly due to injuries. But other than injuries, going forward, what do you think the Knights should do in order to improve?
Yeah, Dominic, as you said, players just not being healthy is one of the main things. We didn't have enough fresh faces to run, more attacks. And another thing is just our defense. Our defense needs to attack more, probably earlier in the game. And same thing with our offense. Scoring early, I think, is going to be one of the biggest keys for our team. Look to score early and really just come back and hold strong and give Corey Valeroy as much protection as he needs to make some big saves, as they like to say.
You said it, Gavin. They weren't able to really get anything going for big save Corey Valeroy tonight, and he had to do a little bit too much, and the 2 goals are really nothing he could do about it, and without a really strong attack going forward, just put too much pressure on the back line for the Knights and their goalkeeper. Final score was 2-0 in favor of CBC. If you want to catch the next live stream, come out next Thursday on October 5th as the Francis Howell North Knights take on Fort Dumont South in a Thursday night soccer matchup. My name was Dominic Hosher, and I was joined by Gavin Anderson, as well as our producer, Maddie Chenault, and working on the camera, Jacob Delaney and Jared Kennard. This was FHN Today. Thank you for tuning in.